The morning sun was just rising over the city skyline, casting a golden hue over the bustling streets. People rushed past each other, coffee cups in hand, phones pressed to ears, all locked in their own routines. Among them, a young man in a crisp shirt and slightly wrinkled blazer weaved through the crowd, his eyes fixed on his phone. A notification blinked on the screen. Interview at 9 a.m. Don't be late. He had 30 minutes left and was just a few blocks away from the towering glass building that could change his life. His heart pounded, not from the running, but from nerves. This job was his shot. The opportunity he had worked for endlessly. Asterisk, clutching a slim folder with his resume and certificates, he tightened his pace, dodging a street vendor and nearly colliding with a cyclist. As he passed a crosswalk, he noticed a small commotion. An elderly woman, bent with age and struggling with a heavy cloth bag, was trying to pick up scattered groceries from the roadside. A carton of eggs lay broken beside her. A few pedestrians glanced her way but kept walking. A taxi honked impatiently. As she stood helplessly in the lane. Asterisk, he slowed for a moment, eyes darting between the woman and the entrance of the office tower just ahead. His interview was on the 21st floor. Just a few more steps and he'd be there. Every second counted. But his feet stopped. He turned, and without a word he knelt beside the woman and began picking up her groceries, unaware that this small act would change the course of his life forever. Asterisk, as he crouched beside the elderly woman. The world around him didn't slow down. It only got louder. Cars roared past, and more people hurried by without glancing in their direction. The woman's hands trembled as she tried to gather her medicine bottles from the cracked pavement. One rolled dangerously close to the road, and he quickly reached out to grab it before it was crushed by a tire. Her bag had torn, and the few items she had, a packet of rice, a loaf of bread, and some fruit, lay scattered. Bruised and dusty, asterisk, she looked at him with soft, glassy eyes full of embarrassment. "I didn't mean to trouble anyone. I thought I could manage," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the noise of the street. He gave her a small, reassuring smile. "You're not troubling me at all, ma'am," he said gently. His fingers worked quickly, repacking the items into a makeshift carrier made from his own spare document envelope. Asterisk, the woman tried to stand, wincing as she leaned on her cane. Without hesitation, he offered his arm to support her. "Let's get you to the bench over there," he said, nodding toward a nearby bus stop. As they slowly made their way, he caught sight of the office building across the road, a reminder of the ticking clock. His interview had already begun. He glanced at his watch, 9:03 a.m., his chest tightened, but he didn't let it show. Asterisk, helping her sit, he knelt again and checked to make sure she hadn't injured herself. She looked at him, stunned by his kindness. "What about your work, son?" she asked, noticing the folder now dirtied from the pavement. He shrugged with a quiet smile. "Some things can wait. Not everyone gets a chance to be human." Asterisk, the lobby was eerily quiet when he finally pushed through the glass doors. His shirt clinging to his back from the heat and the rush, the polished marble floors echoed with each step he took, and the receptionist at the front desk glanced up with a neutral expression. He forced a polite, breathless smile as he approached. "Hi, I had an interview scheduled for 9 o'clock for the assistant operations position." Asterisk, she checked her monitor, then looked back at him. "You're Mr. Harris." He nodded quickly, trying to straighten his crumpled folder. "I'm so sorry I ran into a situation on the way here, but I'm ready now if she cut him off gently. I'm afraid the interview panel just finished and left. They were on a very tight schedule this morning." Her words, though soft, hit him like a punch to the chest. Asterisk, he looked past her toward the elevators, as if expecting someone to walk out and give him a second chance. But the lobby remained still. His heart sank. "Is there any way I could just speak to someone, even for 5 minutes?" he asked, desperation creeping into his voice. The receptionist offered a sympathetic smile but shook her head. "I wish I could help, but I was told they're heading straight to a board meeting. I can take your resume and pass it along." Asterisk, he hesitated, then handed her the folder, smudged now, slightly bent from the street. "Thank you," he murmured. Turning away, he took a deep breath to hide his disappointment. As he stepped outside into the bright daylight, the noise of the city returned, but this time it felt different, harsher. He had missed the opportunity of a lifetime, and yet, somewhere inside, he knew he had made the right call. But right decisions didn't always come with rewards, at least not right away. Asterisk, high above the city. In a corner office wrapped in floor-tuzeling glass, the atmosphere was calm but purposeful. Sunlight poured into the room, illuminating polished furniture and a sleek desk adorned with minimal clutter. The elderly woman from earlier now looked entirely different. No longer the fragile figure hunched on a street corner, but a graceful and dignified woman in a tailored suit, seated confidently behind the desk. A gold nameplate read, Ms. Miriam Actor, founder and CEO. Asterisk her assistant entered briskly with a tablet in hand. The board is ready in the conference room, ma'am, she said. Miriam raised a hand slightly, not looking up. Her mind was elsewhere on the young man with kind eyes and dusty clothes who had stopped everything to help her. She tapped a finger on the armrest, her expression thoughtful. Did we ever find out who that young man was? She asked softly. The assistant blinked, unsure. Young man, ma'am, asterisk Miriam turned, her voice firmer now. The one who helped me outside, the East Gate entrance. I had dropped my bag. Everyone walked past, but he didn't. He sacrificed his own plans to help me. He didn't know who I was, and he didn't care. That's exactly the kind of person we need in this company. Asterisk the assistant, slightly stunned, began typing. I'll check the security footage and find out who he was. Asterisk good, Miriam said, now standing and straightening her coat. No more interviews, no more evaluations. I don't care what his degree says or what his CV looks like. If he can choose compassion over personal gain in a moment of pressure, he's already passed every test I could have given. Asterisk her eyes narrowed slightly, filled with certainty. Find him. I want him here before anyone else does. Asterisk the... Next morning, the young man stood once again in front of the same tall glass building. But this time, his steps were slower, more hesitant. He had received a strange phone call late last night. No details, just a warm voice inviting him to return to the office. Ms. Miriam Actor would like to meet you personally, the caller had said. Confused and curious, he had barely slept, playing the moment over and over in his mind. Was it a mistake? Had someone complained? Did they find out about him helping? The woman, asterisk as he stepped inside. The receptionist who had turned him away the previous morning looked up with a completely different expression. She stood to greet him, smiling. Mr. Harris, please follow me. Ms. Miriam is expecting you. Her tone held a surprising note of respect. He followed, still unsure, clutching the same folder now neatly cleaned and pressed. Asterisk, the elevator. Ride to the top floor felt like an eternity. When the doors opened, he was led down a hallway lined with photographs of company achievements, innovation awards, and articles about a woman whose leadership had shaped an empire. Then the assistant opened the final door. Asterisk Miriam Actor stood by the window, her back to him, overlooking the skyline. She turned slowly, her face breaking into a warm, knowing smile. So, she said, we meet again. Asterisk his eyes widened. In disbelief, it was you yesterday. She nodded. You helped me when everyone else looked away. You gave up something important just to help a stranger. Asterisk he opened his mouth to speak, but she raised her hand and slid a folder across her desk. This is your offer letter. I don't need an interview to know your worth. We need people like you in this company. People who lead with heart, not just ambitinto, the beginning of everything. Asterisk.